Good morning, everyone. My name is Gianluigi DiPaola, and I'm currently a research fellow at the University of Bologna, but I have been collaborating with the University of Molise for several years. Today, I'm going to present a work that we are carrying out with my colleagues Antonio Minervino and Carmen Roscoff about the monitoring of a central Adriatic coast stretch that is extremely susceptible to erosion with the use of modern technologies such as the UAV and the GPS surveys. The aim of this study is to test rapid and inexpensive methodologies to understand in detail the dynamics of a rapidly changing coastal system. As you can see from the yellow rectangle in this part of the slide, the analyzed coastal stretch falls within the southern part of the Molise coast between Termoli Harbour and the Sarcione stream. I have summarized the general characteristics of the Molise coast in this slide by reporting in these box the main features of the regional wave climate. The study aims to provide a methodological contribution for a detailed assessment of susceptibility to coastal erosion using UAV-derived data. The study benefits from the experience acquired by the authors on the territory, with several data published in various scientific journals, giving an idea of the major uses present on the Molise coast. Our attempt is to give a contribution to test a suitable methodology to analyze in detail the most susceptible coastal stretches, above all the erosion hotspot found with other regional papers. But why this area? The intersection of several of our study carried out along the southern Molise coast has allowed to define some important conditions of this coast. In particular, this graph shows that the coastal stretch characterized by major erosion in the last 70 years is the one including the Biferno river mouth. But a more careful analysis shows that there are currently also other areas characterized by erosion, as shown in these graphs, for example. In addition, as we highlight in two recently published papers, there are several erosion focuses with a very high susceptibility to erosion, such as the chosen stretch of coastline. For example, we have 3 susceptibility area and 2 erosion focus. This slide shows the workflow used to produce the digital elevation models derived from the UAV surveys carried out in July 2019 and 2020. These surveys were performed with the commercial devices Phantom 3, which is quite cheap and easy to use. The work phases include an initial GPS measurement campaign for the identification of targets, the creation of a suitable flight plan, and the creation of point clouds by analyzing the images obtained. With these points, it was possible to create for each year a high-resolution digital elevation model with errors not exceeding 2 cm, and then to calculate the plano-altimetric modifications and related volume changes occurred during these years. Finally, the digital elevation model made it possible to produce a certain number of topographic profiles, of which the most interesting 10 profiles were chosen for further analysis for the analysis of this study. In this study, we used the CVI index model to assess the erosion susceptibility along each profile and any related change from 2019 and 2020. This model has been implemented and tested in several other European coastal areas and is essentially based on the assessment of the beach retreat due to storm surge using wave climate and geomorphological data, and the coastal inundation due to run-up on the beach. For the sake of brevity, I do not go into the methodology aspect, but you can see in this slide how the single parameters that enter in the CVA assessment are calculated. To evaluate the goodness of the data obtained through the digital elevation model generated with the points cloud, we realized the two control profiles with the DGPS topographic surveys. The graphs illustrates our most perfect correspondence between the two types of data. The difference between the digital elevation models derived from UAV surveys during these years highlights some important volumetric change with the dune retreating in the southern sector of the investigated area. The figure shows the profile chosen for detailed morphometric analysis and for the evaluation of the indices used in the CVI approach. So, to illustrate an example, I have chosen the profile T7, which is already under monitoring since approximately 20 years. It is evident that the beach is retreating significantly with a continuous negative trend at least since the beginning of 2000. For all investigated profile, we calculated shoreline retreat values related to both run-up and storm surge. Run-up in this and storm surge in this part. In particular, the data were compared using both the average wave and extreme wave values. In this way, it was possible to derive two synthetic indices which take into account the morphological context of the beach and the wave severity. It can be seen that the wave effect has a decisive influence in the northern and the southern portion of the test area, while it is less incisive in the central part. You can see these, for example, here or here. As shown in this slide, we analyzed the shoreline variation of the test area considering different periods. This analysis shows that the system has entered into several crises during the period 2016-2019. However, the multi-temporal analysis also shows that this has not always been the case in the past. For example, it's possible to see these in these pictures. Therefore, when considering these values in the beach erosion index, we try to take into account also the general long-term trend of the coast. In this way, we obtained an index that shows a tendency to increase its severity towards the south. Finally, combining the different indices allows observing that an increase of coastal vulnerability is also observed in the central and the southern portion of the test area, for example T5, T7 and T8, with a significant change along the T5 from a medium to high CVA level. Conversely, along T1 and T10, a slight decrease of coastal vulnerability indexes occur, but not such to produce a lowering of the pre-existing CVA levels. In conclusion, the illustrated methodological approach based on UAV-derived data integrated with others derived from more traditional sources, such as photogrammetric and satellite imagery, was used to investigate long to short-term shoreline changes and the very recent planialtimetric change of the beach dune system along the southern Molise coast. Results obtained highlight that the use of UAV can represent a major breakthrough in the study and the monitoring for short-term morphological changes induced by coastal dynamics. This methodology also allows to investigate in detail the coastal areas identified as highly susceptible to erosion and to monitor their short-term evolution even on an annual or seasonal basis with sufficiently low costs and a fairly short time. So thank you very much for your attention, and if you have any question or you want to contact me, I put in this slide my contacts. Thanks a lot.